In today's card video, I am putting my leftover die cut pieces to use so that I have no waste. Now, this card is a part two in a video that I just recently posted, and I will link up here in the top corner and also down below in the video description if you want to check that out. So in that previous video, I had done a lot of die cutting and I had a lot of leftover pieces and I don't want them to go to waste. So this is one of the cards that I created using those leftover pieces, but there are so many more cards that I can create with those. Now, here is a look at the card I created in that previous video I mentioned, and you can see where I'm going to have a lot of leftover pieces because this is using the springtime celebration plate from Simon Says Stamp. So I only used certain colors for the flowers and for the bunny, and I have all of these leftover pieces. I'm going to save all of those kind of cover panels with all of the die cutting out of it. But then I have all of these small pieces, so different colors of flowers and butterflies and foliage, and I keep them all in this large craft stacks from Spellbinders. Right now, I'm going through and I'm picking out all of the butterflies. I absolutely love butterflies, and I thought this would make a really cute card front. So once I picked out all the different colors, I'm going to lay them out in a grid style format. So I started laying them out here just kind of next to an A2 size piece of cardstock so I can get an idea of how much room I have to create my grid. I am also going to kind of leave a gap for where my sentiment is going to go. And then once I have everything lined out, I thought it'd be really fun to pop these up because it's going to make a pretty simple card. And just adding a little bit of dimension to the back of the butterflies, I think will help step this up a little bit. I'm going to use the thin foam squares from Simon Says Stamp, and I just trim them into skinny strips and add them right behind the butterfly wings. So as I pick them up and place the foam square behind the butterfly wing, I'm going to place them back down in the order that I wanted to go on the card front. It would also be a great time to take a picture of it in case anything shifts or something knocks over. At least you have a picture for reference. Now I'm going to work on the sentiment, and I did skip a few things in here because when I stamped it and tried lining up the coordinating die, I misaligned it every time because the coordinating die lines up pretty close to the letters. So I have a piece of cardstock in here. I am stamping the sentiment down first with a light gray ink. And then off screen, I had die cut the sentiments that I want to use out of white cardstock. And I'm using that as a guide. So it's my template. I lined that guide up over the sentiment I stamped, placed my, what is this, negative piece or positive piece in there, and then I'm going to stamp it again over the top with a black ink. So this way it is lined up absolutely perfect. And do this technique if you have this particular stamp set or plan on getting it. It's going to save you a lot of time and you'll get a perfectly lined up image every time. So I did that with the word Easter as well. And you don't have to use a light gray ink at first. You can just jump right into the black. I just started with the light gray ink. I'm not really sure why I started with light gray ink, but you could jump right into the black to stamp that as your template. Now I'm bringing in my card front. So this is 120-pound white cardstock from Simon Says Stamp cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm placing my butterflies on the front of the panel the way I want them to be. So once I feel like I have everything lined up perfectly, I'm going to bring in press and seal, and I'm going to use this to help pick everything up. Now, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with press and seal. I don't know if I would really recommend it for this. It worked out, but my butterflies, being that they're all individual, they're not kind of all together like a bouquet, they did wanna move a little bit on me, and I have a lot of static in my house right now, so the press and seal really wanted to kinda shift around. It did work, so I definitely recommend giving it a try, but just wanted to kind of forewarn you in case you start seeing your butterflies move. Now I pressed everything down so that the press and seal would pick up the butterflies, and then I'm going to carefully peel back the cardstock. Now keep in mind the press and seal is also sticking to the white areas of the cardstock, so you do have to be careful. Now once I remove that, I'm going to go through and remove all of the backing on those thin foam squares. And this is another part I was slightly frustrated with as I was trying to line this up perfectly on the front of the card. I feel like I got lucky because it was really hard for me to place that down because with foam squares, once they stick, they're kind of hard to move. So I feel like I got lucky there. You could also put a little bit of liquid glue on the back of those foam squares. That might give you a little bit of wiggle room. I just wanted to share some of that information with you because sometimes our great ideas don't always go quite as easy as we hope they do. It is a great technique to use with the press and seal, but I like to kind of share those little frustrations that I have along the way. So here I'm adding my sentiment to the center using the regular thickness foam squares to pop that up a little bit higher than the butterflies. I'm creating a card base. So I have my scoring board and my 120-pound white cardstock that I scored at 4 1/4 and reinforcing the fold with my bone folder. I personally like to create side folding card bases because I like it to open up like a book. I'm adding tape runner to the front of that card base, and then I can add my card panel over the top. I absolutely love this card. It is all these springtime colors. I love the color combination, and it was fairly simple to do. And I'm using the leftover pieces from that springtime celebration plate. And I still have a ton of dies or die cuts left over. I could still create a card with the bunnies. I could do the large and small flowers. So I still have a lot of card possibilities that I can create. I will have all of my supplies that I'm using today linked down below in the video description and over on my blog, along with a link to that first video. I hope you all enjoyed today's card project and who is ready for spring because I sure am.